welcome to this latest ABNcast by Aviation Business News. My name is Lee Hayhurst. I am the editorial director at Aviation Business News, and you join me here in the ABNcast studio in London. Joining me remotely, I have today's interviewee, and she is Stine Berg, who is the head of people at AAP. Welcome, Stine, and thanks for joining us on ABNcast today.
Thank you so much for having me.
I believe you're in Norway. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah,
where
in
AAP
Oslo.
is based. Cool. Okay, so yeah, welcome and thanks for joining us. And for the next 20 to 25 minutes or so, we're going to talk about people and human resources in aviation, and in particular cabin crew and pilots, which is what AAP specialise in. And Stine, you are head of people there. So just to give us a bit of an idea of what your role entails at AAP, and then we'll get into some of the topics and some of the challenges and opportunities that you're dealing with at the minute in the industry.
I've been with AAP for the last 9 years now. Overall responsible currently for HR recruitment on a group level, most towards pilots and cabin crew, but also other aviation related positions such as technicians, for example, but mainly pilots and cabin crew.
Okay, so you do a little bit on the sort of more the engineering side of things, but the focus is more on more on the people who fly in the aircraft themselves. We know that the industry is very people focused. It's a service industry at the end of the day, and that's what people provide those services in all sorts of different ways. And there's many different people who do many different roles that help these amazing pieces of machinery fly around the world every day. But what we also know is that the industry's had a lot of challenges around people, particularly since COVID, and we're still working through that. So give us an idea of where you think the industry is at today in terms of its challenges around ensuring that it can access the right numbers, but also the right skills from the global workforce.
Absolutely. On the cabin crew side, I can start with that. We see that it's more younger applicants in general. Usually the trend now is that many would like to try out the cabin crew profession just for a couple of years. They're typically applying for many different jobs, are in many different recruitment processes. So we see that we kind of need to capture them quickly in the recruitment phase to have an efficient, smooth recruitment process. Also, they don't want to use much time in placing an application. Everything needs to be very smooth, done via their phone, smartphone, for example. So that's the typical trend on the cabin crew side. So we in AAP Aviation to kind of handle this, we have worked very much, especially after COVID, but also before COVID, we started to building up this. We have our own in-house recruitment system, CrewMatch, which is built to kind of handle this. It's built towards mass recruitment and to have a smooth recruitment process where everything is done digitally and everything is handled through this system.
Okay. And I know, looking at your biography, you were previously cabin crew yourself for a time with SAS, so you understand and have direct experience of what it was like then. How has the role changed since in that time? And in terms of like the people looking to become crew today, are they looking at it as a short-term career to get into the travel industry per se, or the leisure travel industry? What are they seeing aviation as being for them in terms of the long-term career prospects?
It varies a little bit, of course, but overall we see previously it was more people going into a career as cabin crew for a long time in more legacy, for example, with SAS are there for a long time. But the new trend is typically younger people applying. They just want to try it out for a couple of years. They want to experience the world. They have kind of not necessarily that career long-term plan in aviation.
So it's kind of that lifestyle thing. Presumably there's still that sense of this is a really cool industry to work in because you do get to travel, whether the reality is quite like that or not. But there's clearly still a sense of that this is a role, this is a job that promises a lot in terms of lifestyle.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, but Yeah, to move to the pilot side, we, of course, the main issue there is that there is not enough qualified pilots in the market. The forecasts say that there will be a pilot shortage just in a few years' time. So we are also focusing a lot of on that, how we can kind of fill this gap, the need for pilots, because we really see a competition of getting qualified pilots in the market now.
Okay. So look, we talked about how being cabin crew is still quite an aspirational career for young people. What about being a pilot? I mean, when you're a small child, very many, if you ask them what they want to be, they'll say, they may say pilot or spaceman or something. They all want to be something like this. This career is very aspirational for young people, and yet we're finding that we don't have enough people coming through and wanting to be pilots. Do you think it still has the same draw, the same excitement for people to want to become pilots these days? And if that's not the case, how can the industry portray itself as being a great opportunity for people to have that career?
I think so, but of course, a challenge. It is an expensive education to get into. It's not very long, but also after you have completed the education, just to get your first job is difficult. The pilots do not have the hours yet to start with commercial airlines. So the options might be that it's first difficult to get a job, and then it's potentially to start with low-cost carriers and maybe not the exciting adventure with high salaries right away and traveling the world. So kind of to take the time to get in. So we also encourage, for example, with governmental support for the pilot programs, also cooperation between airlines and pilot schools to have more clear career path. We really think that would increase the interest for pilots, because I think many are afraid of not getting their first job, or maybe not the most exciting jobs.
I can see that some of the blockers, some of the concerns are, like you say, the expense and the time it takes to become a fully qualified pilot. I think there are other careers out there, maybe other sectors out there where things can happen more quickly. So potentially that's one of the issues that the industry has to overcome.
And we see that with the technicians, for example, as well. Many technicians and pilots, they get their main education, but their education can be used in other places as well. So it's important that we keep them within aviation, and that the airlines are a little bit on and actually capture them instead of them going to other industries.
Yeah. Do you see signs that the aviation industry is starting to be able to compete with other sectors for human resource?
Of course, it depends on salaries. It depends on. We also see a lot of the focus for both pilots and cabin crew is also the work-life balance. So I think that's a focus that airlines need to also consider going forward, to actually offer roster patterns that also gives the crew days off, and to focus more on that balance, in addition, of course, to salary. I guess that's how life has changed a lot since COVID, around the work-life balance side of things. And you'll have seen that, I'm sure, compared to how you experienced working in the aviation industry as crew. So and that comes down to the management of it. So it's not just the recruitment, it's then the ongoing management, and that's obviously something that you help airlines with. So what does best practice look like these days? Is it about giving? You can't work from home in this sector, because you can't be a work from home cabin crew or pilot, obviously. I'm interested in how carriers are trying to adapt to greater expectations of flexibility from their employees, because it's not just rosters and work hours. There are lots of new expectations that have emerged from among employees. If you don't offer those kind of things, you can't compete you can't compete for skills and talent. Absolutely. How we handle it in AAP Aviation, part of our business model is to employ locally. We have bases in many places around the world, mainly now in Europe and Asia, and we have the local knowledge. We make sure that we are compliant according to local laws, that we offer competitive conditions locally, and can also support the employees, the crew locally. So that creates more stability, more security, in addition then to, of course, the focus on the flexible roster pattern to have good days off, and also to commute on days on.
As AAP, you will work with all sorts of different kind of carriers. So you've got the whole gamut from long haul to short haul to low cost. And I guess they're all looking for different patterns of work and different kinds of people to work in their businesses. So you have solutions for all kinds of different airlines. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah.
And how do you adapt for different airlines? What if I'm an airline, I come to you and I say, look, I've got a requirement in terms of recruitment. How do you adapt your offering to the different clients that you have?
So our business model, Total Crew Management, kind of consists of 4 main segments. So it's recruitment, it's training, and crew management or employment, and planning and execution part, or planning scheduling. And when clients come to us, we can offer this total package depending on their need. But many clients also come to us and ask for recruitment services. And we have our own database, in-house built recruitment system, where we have built up this over the last 10 years. So it's quite many aviation candidates within there in various locations around the world, so that when new clients come to us and are recruiting, we handle everything through the system. Of course, we advertise also depending on which market they are going into, on relevant sites, but also look what we have in our database, advertise for this client, and also handle the process then through our recruitment system, where we handle all communication, gathering of documentation. Everything is compliant according to GDPR, and then it's also the link between kind of efficient technology and also the personal touch, because initially screening is done automized based on minimum qualifications, but we are also very focused on putting candidates in contact with our recruitment team, so that they also have a personal follow-up. So this mix between the personal and digital technology, to make sure that they also go through a fast recruitment process.
Okay. And so from the candidate's point of view, will they come to you and then they'll find a full-time job with a carrier and then go and work for them? Or will they move around different carriers? Because obviously there are seasonal requirements, and you don't always need a full roster on board throughout the whole year. So if I'm a candidate, what's my experience of working with you guys to find work?
Mainly we focus on, we recruit specifically for the client that come to us. So employees will then be, or candidates will then be employed to work specifically for this client. But as you say, it might also be seasonal workers. And then it's they have already gone through a recruitment process. We know that they are good candidates, and we can also offer them, after they have completed services for one carrier for one season, we can also offer them employment with our other clients as well. So it's possible to have that transfer.
Given the need for people, and given the maybe the lack of people out there, is it almost is it a guarantee that I will get work in the aviation industry? That's, if I want it, because there's so much demand for people.
It's not a guarantee. Of course, it's still focused on having the right talent. It's an amazing job, but it requires that you have this flexibility. It's not about traveling and seeing the world only. It's customer service, and it's long work days. And it's important to also not only that the candidates kind of sell themselves to the recruiters, but also that they get full knowledge of what the job entails. And it's a very fun profession for for the right people. So it's not automatic that they will get the job, but
No.
of course it's we do need a lot of candidates.
Yeah, I was going to get you, ask your opinion about the work that you get to do. You still feel it's exciting, and it's a job that you can get really passionate about. It's not like an ordinary office job. It's very different to that, isn't it? So do you feel there's still that sense that it's a really interesting and exciting place to work?
Absolutely. And I think the kind of community that you get as cabin crew and pilots within aviation, it's very special, different to any other kind of work communities, even though you maybe work with just a few people for a few days and then you change crew. People are very open, and it's a special atmosphere. So absolutely, I think the communication, it's a special type of people also that go into to this profession.
Do you think as a whole, as an industry, so not talking about the individual carriers or companies now, but just talk as an industry in general, there is a bit of a job to do in terms of promoting itself as a sector. I think maybe, especially when you come think about the younger generation, they're very, very conscious of their impact on the world, in particular around sustainability issues. And it's easy to sort of see aviation as being one of those industries that has a significant impact, and maybe not always in positive ways. There's a very positive case to be made, but clearly there's also the other side of things. Do you think the industry should do more to sort of give their point of view, at least counter the negatives, and say, look, of course this is an industry that has a significant environmental footprint, but there are very, very many positives as well, and try to promote itself as a positive place to have a career?
Absolutely, but I think it's also a lot of focus on that now. It has been for the last years. The airlines are trying to reduce their how they affect the world negatively, and it's a lot of focus on that already. But absolutely, I think that's, as you say, very important for the younger generation coming into.
There's a lot of challenges around that, but when you're in the industry, you see so much is going on in that area, so much innovation and interesting and exciting things are actually happening, which are really making a difference. So I suppose you can choose to opt out of that if you want. That's probably your prerogative, but you could also choose to be part of it, which potentially is more exciting because you actually have an impact.
Absolutely.
So this is the reason, and I'm sure we've spoken about this prior to talking today, but we launched Best Places to Work in Aviation specifically for this reason, because we know there's a big challenge, not least with cabin crew and pilots, but specifically sometimes in the areas people don't see, the jobs that happen sort of behind closed doors, almost, the engineering and the guys who do all that really hard work to make sure these aircraft fly safely every day around the world. And so we are very keen to sort of promote the aviation industry as a great place for people to have careers, but also to find businesses that are doing a really good job with their people. And I think that's the most important thing, is that once you've got the people in, it's retaining as well. How important is it that once you've got the talent, because you spend a lot of money developing and finding the talent, how important is it that once you've got them, you're also doing everything you can to retain them in the business and in the industry? And what are people looking for from companies that they want to stay with for the longer term? Is it about training and development?
I think in addition to of course salary, to have a good work-life balance, that we see that development is very important both on the cabin crew and the pilot side. To have the possibilities for quite quick captain upgrades, for example, on the pilot side, that is very important. Also for cabin crew, where we see that many of them are just in the industry for a couple of years before they move on. Actually, with the companies that have more focus on internal development opportunities, not necessarily as cabin crew, but also maybe on the administrative side within the company, then it's more interest for staying there. They absolutely stay there for a longer time. But we also see it with the total crew management concept that we offer that it's very important to be locally present, to have the local knowledge, locally following up. It provides the also security for the pilots and the cabin crew that are employed. So we see that also as very positive for the retention.
Yeah. Okay. Well, our time's come to an end, but Stine, thanks for talking to us about this today. For those of you listening and you want to be part of Best Places to Work in Aviation this year, we are open for registration. So we'd like to hear from as many great aviation companies out there that are doing a good job with their people. Stine, thanks very much for joining us. I believe that was your first podcast. So
yeah,
well done, and I really appreciate your time today. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.